The California wildfires have been a major disaster, with devastating impacts on both people and the environment. The combination of extreme heat, dry conditions, and strong winds has led to several large fires breaking out across the state. These wildfires have forced thousands of residents to evacuate their homes and have destroyed countless structures, including homes and businesses. The smoke and air quality issues have also affected areas far beyond the immediate fire zones. The wildfire surged down the Pacific Coast Highway with a terrible intensity that left broad ruin in its wake. It left devastation in its path as it raged through the highway. There was a striking contrast between the cloudy and smoky horizon and the strong orange glow that erupted from the flames as they ascended to great heights in the sky. The air was filled with the intense odor of burning wood and ash, making it impossible for anyone who was caught in the area of the fire to breathe. This was because the air was filled with the smell of the fire. There was a rapid spread of the fire, which might be attributed to the constant winds that were present. These winds blew across the region with a ferocity that was almost inhuman, which resulted in the flames expanding in size and speed at a rate that no one could have anticipated. Apocalyptic sites of destruction were formed in the terrain, with homes, autos, and natural environments being destroyed by the fire. These scenes were made in the mountainous terrain. The setting was transformed into a visual representation of a catastrophe. The testimonies of people who had managed to live began to emerge even in the midst of the chaos that was occurring. The fire was so fierce that it halted them just a short distance away from their home, as one of the inhabitants explained. Despite their best attempts, they were unable to return to their home because the fire was so intense. Because of the gravity of the situation, an individual who remained nameless braved the dangerous conditions in order to provide assistance and provide transportation for them to complete the remaining distance. The streets were not only littered with debris, but they were also lit by the eerie glow of flames that were jumping across the highway. There was a terrifying nightmare that was the freeways. It wasn't just the fire itself that provided a threat. Live electricity wires, which had been carried down by the unrelenting heat and wind, flashed and sputtered on the ground, offering even greater threats than the fire itself. At first glance, it seemed as though the entire environment was conspiring against those individuals who were seeking to evacuate. It was impossible for the wooden frames of the power poles that lined the roadway to survive the unrelenting heat, and as a result, each one of them fell down one by one. Explosions could be heard throughout the atmosphere as a result of the rupture of gas lines, which added fuel to the fire that was already developing in intensity and caused fireballs to be launched into the air. The unrelenting wind was the driving force behind the flames, which did not remain confined to a single site, but instead leapt across roads, yards, and rooftops all throughout the neighborhood. Furthermore, the flames did not remain in a single location. On the other hand, the only thing that stayed the same was the intense heat that emanated from every direction. The region was blanketed in dense smoke. Due to the increased amount of smoke that filled the area, visibility was reduced to almost nothing. The individuals who survived described the experience as being comparable to being in the center of hell while driving. Because the flames were pressing on the glass, people were able to feel the searing heat of the flames even when they were inside their vehicles. This was because the flames were generating heat. The rumbling sound of flames crackling throughout the air served as a foreboding backdrop to the chaos that was occurring all around them for them to experience. As the fire expanded, it wiped out entire neighborhoods, leaving behind only the outlines of homes for a brief instant before they were fully engulfed by the flames. The landscape became unrecognizable as a result of the charred ruins and burning debris that served as a replacement for the once familiar environment. Nevertheless, in spite of the widespread destruction, there were a few accounts that had an even more profound sense of loss about the situation. Both of the elderly individuals, who were both in their 90s and had been in their home for the previous 75 years, were left absolutely powerless during the incident. They had placed their trust in the same insurance provider for the protection of their home over the course of several decades. However, they were not given any advance notification before their fire insurance policy was terminated, which occurred several weeks before the disaster. As a result of the fire, their area was entirely engulfed by flames, and they were left with no way to recover the financial damages they had sustained. In addition to the demolition of their home, which was a symbol of their long and secure life, they also lost memories that spanned a lifetime as a result of the destruction of their home. As a consequence of the wildfire, it became clear that the community's defenses against a calamity of this magnitude were particularly susceptible to failure. Despite the valiant efforts of those who work in emergency services, they were unable to hold the fire under control because of how quickly it spread and how intense it was. Residents fled with little more than the clothing on their backs, and many of them were caught unprepared after being detained. Residents fled with little more than the clothes on their backs. Additionally, the powerful winds operated as an unstoppable force, carrying embers that sparked new fires and spreading disaster further. This was in addition to the fact that they spread havoc well beyond the point of first contact. The extent of the destruction that had taken place after the catastrophe was difficult to comprehend after it had taken place. The lives of a large number of people were turned upside down, entire blocks were reduced to rubble, and the foundations of the electricity system were devastated. All of these unfortunate events occurred simultaneously. In spite of this, there were moments of human resilience and solidarity that sprouted in the midst of the upheaval. In order to save as many people as possible, firefighters put their lives in danger, neighbors assisted one another in evading capture, strangers offered rides to those who were trapped, and neighbors assisted one another in evading capture. A clear picture of the strength that nature possesses was presented as a result of the calamity, which not only came to light the resilience and compassion of those individuals who were able to survive it. Having this experience served as a sobering reminder of the importance of being well prepared and of the unbreakable spirit that enables communities to persevere through even the most trying of circumstances. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.